Welcome back, warrior. We are in the car, just barely waiting for the child to get back from soccer practice, and then we will get started on the reading. Here we go. Okay, so we're changing scenery like all the time. Here we go. Moses is born to Levite parents, is raised by Pharaoh's daughter, slays an Egyptian in defense of an Israelite, flees to Midian and marries Zipporah. Israel in bondage, cries to the Lord. Okay, so here we go. There's some info here about Moses' birth, though, okay? So in verse 1, we're introduced to a faithful couple who were both descendants of Levi. The ancient Jewish scholar Josephus tells us the names of Moses' parents, Amram and Jochebed, and he explained that the way they chose to protect their baby boy was full of faith and revelation. Imagine giving birth in such a time as this. These women would not know if they were going to deliver a boy or a girl. So imagine that moment when you learn that the baby is a boy and his fate was death, right? Because that's what the ladies had to do, the midwives. And Josephus explained what Moses' parents did. Okay, so let me read verse 1 and we'll get there into Josephus's quote. So, and there went a man of the house of Levi and took a wife, a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. Now, if you know newborns, I don't think there's any way you can hide one. So this Moses baby must have been such a good boy. You know, he was going to sleep all the time and just being nursed all the time. Like those were the options. Because, he's not allowed to make noise, right? And the mom was like, oh, sorry, I have my period. I need to go to the tent or whatever, right? And then if you said that, it was like everybody would leave you alone back then. Now, if you're on your period, like people are mad at you that you're not like doing everything, right? Anyway, so verse 3, and when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes and dabbed it with slime and with pitch and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags by the river's bank. Also, props to mom because she knows how to make baskets waterproof. Okay, who knows how to do this? I do not. And she didn't have YouTube to help her. So good job paying attention in woman class or whatever, wherever these ladies learned how to do their stuff, right? She's probably thanking her grandmother for this tip that she must have got way back in the day. Verse 4, and his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him. Okay, so we have his sister's Miriam, and we have her like witnessing where Moses is going to be, right? And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along the river's side, and when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child. Okay, who has seen the Moses movie? This is so perfect. This is so awesome, right? I'm talking about the Moses movie from back in the day. And when she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And finally, he's crying, right? That's probably why she couldn't hide him anymore. And she had compassion on him and said, this is one of the Hebrews' children. So she immediately knew whose child it was. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. The maid went and called the child's mother unknowingly, right? So then said his sister, meaning Moses' sister, because as soon as she saw him take him out, or as soon as she saw Pharaoh's daughter take Moses out of the water, that's what his sister was just watching, and she's like, I'm going to go check it out, And so then that's when she came and was like, oh, do you want me to go find a Hebrew woman, right? And yeah, she's like, go get her. And of course, Miriam just went to go get her mom, which I love, which is so cute. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. So let's get paid to take care of our children, okay, ladies? Like, like that would be awesome. We're all like, where do we sign up for this biz? Yeah, no. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses. And she said, because I drew him out of the water. Oh, cute. Okay, so let's see. All right, so now I will read Josephus's quote. Okay. Found in Antiquities of the Jews, chapter 9. A man whose name was Amram, one of the nobler sort of the Hebrews, was afraid for his whole nation, lest it should fail, comma, Linda, let's learn how to read. Honestly. Okay. Lest it should fail by the want of young men to be brought up hereafter, and was very uneasy at it. His wife being then with child, and he knew not what to do. Hereupon he betook himself to prayer to God. Accordingly, God had mercy on him, and was moved by his supplication. He stood by him in his sleep, and exhorted him not to despair of his future favors. For that child, out of dread of whose nativity the Egyptians have doomed the Israelite children to destruction, shall be this child of thine, and shall be concealed from those who watch to destroy him. And when he is brought up in a surprising way, he shall deliver the Hebrew nation from the distress they are under from the Egyptians. His memory shall be famous while the world lasts. And this not only among the Hebrews, but foreigners also, all which shall be the effect of my favor in thee, or to thee, and to thy posterity. He shall also have such a brother, that he shall himself obtain my priesthood, and his posterity shall have it after him to the end of the world. Okay, where we're getting this information, I don't even know, but this is great stuff. Okay, when the vision, I'm guessing you'd have to go to Antiquities of the Jews, chapter 9, to see all the footnotes of all where the information's coming from. But anyway, this is good stuff. When the vision had informed him of these things, Amram awaked, and told it to Jochebed, who was his wife. The mother's labor was not known to those that watched her by the easiness of her pains. Ugh, like, there is absolutely no way I could have given birth to any of my children without somebody knowing. Two of them ended up, first one, epidural right away. Second one, no drugs. Amazing. Love it. He's awesome. And then third, I can't say that there was no pain. I could just say that I didn't need anything. No drugs needed. And then third child, we tried for so long, like 40 hours. Finally, I had to get the epidural, or else we would have had serious cone head going on. So anyway, there was no way that we would have super quiet labors or anything, right? People would be knowing that I was in labor. People would know that I was pregnant. In fact, one of my friends, literally crossing the street, just walking past me, we were trying to hide that we were pregnant. I was trying to hide that I was pregnant for a while, because when you're older and you're pregnant, and it was my first pregnancy, and we'd struggled with infertility for 7 years. It was you just didn't tell people, right? You were I don't want to jinx it, right? Anyway, so I didn't tell anybody. Literally talking to her for 2 seconds, she's all like, "Are you pregnant?" And I was like, "What? How in the world?" I still don't even know. She must have just... And then she proceeds to tell me that she knows my body, and I'm like, that's sad. That's sad that people are looking at my body that much. It's no wonder I have I'm self-conscious about it all the time. Anyway, so I couldn't hide it from my friend when I was who knows, 10 weeks along, 11 weeks along. So there's absolutely no way that I could have done this. Anyway, so the mother's labor was not known to those that watched her by the easiness of her pains. Congratulations, Jochebed. Everyone wants to be like you, all women. And because the thrones of her delivery did not throw, because of the throes of her delivery, did not fall upon her with violence. Thank you. Oh man. And it seems like they had to put that because that's probably how it was for other women, which makes me feel semi-normal. Thank you very much. And now they nourished the child at home privately for 3 months. But after that time, Amram, fearing he should be discovered, and by falling under the king's displeasure, both he and his child should perish, and so he should make the promise of God of none effect. He determined rather to entrust the safety and care of the child to God than to depend on his own concealment of him. But he believed that God would some way, for certain, procure the safety of the child in order to secure the truth of his own predictions. When they had thus determined, they made an ark of bulrushes after the manner of a cradle, and of a bigness sufficient for an infant to be laid in, without being too straitened. They then daubed it over with slime, which would naturally keep out the water from entering between the bulrushes. We're saying the word naturally here because it's a natural substance, not so much like naturally like people could do this, right? Like, feels like it would have taken a while or like it was hard. And also I think it's cute that dad was involved, and probably dad was the one, maybe I would like to think that dad was the one who also helped in figuring out that slime could do this. So, which would naturally keep out the water from entering between the bulrushes, and put the infant into it. And setting it afloat upon the river, they left its preservation to God. Isn't that just awesome? So God preserved Moses through the ark made of bulrushes. But before the ark, righteous parents had the truth revealed to them, and they acted in faith. The child was placed exactly where he needed to be, where the Pharaoh's daughter would find him. And she then took the child as her own, ironically being the very child that the Pharaoh was fearing. Right? That guy. He's totally hating life after, you know. And Moses would learn all about the ways of the Egyptians, preparing him for the mission that was in his future. I just love it. I just love this. Okay, so in verse 11, so fast, like I feel like we need more here. And this is no wonder people have movies made. And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens. And he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. Now, we might be like, okay, so I guess he didn't really get all of the training about being like Jesus Christ, right? Remember, he's part Egyptian also because he's being raised there. So he didn't quite get all of the instruction that he would have to know better than to just kill somebody, right? Maybe also he didn't mean to do it. He didn't know his own strength. Could be. I don't know. I'm just saying. Of course, I'm being super defensive of Moses because we like him. Anyway, verse 13. And when he went out the second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me, as thou killedst the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. Now the priests of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. I'm sad that we don't get more story of Moses in the castle, right? But you can imagine that he got tons of training because he was being raised as an Egyptian. So he got training from when he was little to when he left, because that's just like how royalty is, right? They get more training, more education, more physical training, more mental strength training, more of all those things, right? So, except maybe of the religious side, right? Okay, sorry, had to interrupt for a second. Okay, and when they came to Reuel, their father he said, Wait, and when they came to rule their father, that's a cool name for your dad, rule. Got to follow the rules, right? Okay, anyway, he said, it's not the first time he ever said that, or it's not the first time people said that. Okay, so he said, how is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock. And he said unto his daughters, and where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. So he was like, wait, somebody did this awesome thing for you and you just like left him? You need to tell him to come over. Because he had daughters, right? And Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter. And she bare him a son, and he called his name Gershom. For he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. And it came to pass, it's funny that people name their children things like to remind them of their experiences. And we did the same thing with our kids' middle names. So it's kind of funny about that. Anyway, and she bare him a son, and he called his, I already read that. And it came to pass in the process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage, because it just got worse, I guess. And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them. Okay. So that is all of it for chapter 2 of Exodus. And we're just going to read some commentary here. Moses is now grown, and he went out unto his brethren. So it never says that Moses did not know his own background. The Pharaoh's daughter could have been very open with Moses about his heritage. And if he had any contact with his family, he was likely told of his mission that had been revealed to his parents. It says in verse 11 that Moses noticed how his people were being treated, and he looked on their burdens. But also, like, his mom was with him, like nursing him and helping to raise him and stuff too. So there you go. So anyway, he had his mom, and regardless of if the Pharaoh's daughter told him anything about his heritage. Okay, and Moses was seeing what was being done to them, and he saw one of the taskmasters smiting in Hebrew one of his brethren. Right, the Old Testament Seminary Teacher's Manual explains that the translation for slew is one used in military situations, suggesting that Moses slayed a man who was slaying another man. This event spread quickly, and Moses was then forced to flee Egypt. He came upon the land of Midian, which was the perfect place for him to be. Okay, so I like that translation, which is the military situation, because that could also have been it, right? The Midianites were descendants of Abraham. Through his wife Keturah, therefore, in Midian, the priesthood was found. Moses married, the Midianites were descendants of Abraham through his wife Keturah. Okay, therefore, in Midian, the priesthood was found. All right. Moses married the priest of Midian's daughter, and her name was Zipporah. It was here that Moses received the priesthood, for John Woodstow taught Moses received the priesthood from Jethro in Midian. Okay, so this is evidences. This is found in Evidences and Reconciliations. And now Moses was being further prepared for the mission God had for him. Amazing. Okay. So the read it, live it for Exodus chapter 2 is here. Okay, and it says, and God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect upon them, unto them. Even when he was silent, he was not absent. He saw, he knew, he waited for the right moment. Trust his timing. Oof, it is so hard to trust the Lord's timing. I speak from experience, but the Lord is wise. And his timing, sometimes when we can't see it, in the end, when we come back and see hindsight's 2020, then we see the wisdom that the Lord had, right? Okay. And I wanted to share something special with you. I'm doing something called Letters from the Battlefield, and this is a snail mail subscription to, and it is going to be based on scripture for healing of betrayal trauma. And so I have just barely finished putting most of it together, and you're going to be the first one to see it. So this is basically it here. I'm going to have fancy stuff here written. This is going to be where people are addressed, and the stamp goes there. And anyway, and then you open it, and this is going to come out like this. Okay. Now, I'm not quite sure if we're going to do it like a little sticker or a star or like a heart or something there. But we want something. And it's kind of like a folded, it's almost like an origami thing. So we're going to open it, okay? And as we open it, we're going to be seeing like a little window that opens like and forth like this, okay? So we're going to have journaling prompts here to help us, okay? And then when you open it, actually I kind of put it back wrong, but when it is opened for the first time, the first thing that I want everyone to see is this art. This picture of Christ is going to be amazing, right? And so let me hold it like this. So this is going to be the first thing. Then we're going to cover, then on the back, we're going to have our Crush framework, which is our framework for accelerated healing after betrayal. Following those steps, you'll get that accelerated healing that we all want, right? And it's something that I have learned throughout the time that I've been going through it myself, and the Lord and the Spirit made known to me that those are the things that we need to be focusing on in order to accelerate our healing. And I found that the reason why I was able to have, I think a lot of sisters that I encounter wonder why I was able to move further along than they were. And that's the only thing that I can think of, is because I was following this framework unknowingly. And then later, the Spirit revealed it to me, and I was like, oh, that must be the reason. Anyway, so we have that outlined. Then we're going to have a bookmark, because I believe that reading and educating ourselves is key. And so we have a bookmark with Sister Sherry Dew's quote and the PDF linked at the bottom. And then we have Brene Brown's Gifts of Imperfection quotes here, and also a QR code link to her TED Talk, because her stuff helped me so much. I wanted to make sure that other sisters, other women are able to have that. Okay. Then we have a recipe card with really easy recipe that when we are feeling attacked or feeling super low, like we can't literally do anything, and yet we still need to show up for our children or our family, then this is, or for ourselves, right? Because we still need to eat anyway. This is a quick and easy 4x6 recipe card that we can use. Then we have this cute little cassette, and this is my mixtape for you sisters, and it is a QR code with the playlists on Spotify or Apple. And then on the back, it's going to be battle cries, meaning some affirmations or statements of control, things like that to help strengthen us. And when you actually see this, you'll see that it's the size of a business card. So it fits right into your wallet, those spots for your wallet. And if you can take it with you on the go, so that when you need strength, you have it available for you. Okay. And again, the songs in this are going to be like, you take what you need, leave what you don't, and you can add, those songs, like whichever songs resonate with you, you can add those to your own playlists. You don't have to use my specific playlist. These are just songs that have blessed my life and helped me so much. Either be relatable, feel not alone, get some anger out, or also provide peace, hope, and strength. So it's like a variety of things. So I'll probably end up having to figure out, like, share how these things actually help me. And then in the letter, you're going to see this, and it's going to be full color. But in this letter, we're also going to include, I'm going to share a little bit of my story so that we can connect through our story, because that is key. I need to be able to make sure we can connect. And then these are going to be little clear stickies that you can put on your mirror, and they're going to have, again, affirmations, things that we can control, or future tense statements, things like that, so that it will bless our lives. By the end of the year, you will have 24, and that is supposed to provide that extra strength you need as you know, get ready and throughout the day, or get ready in the morning or at night. Okay, and then something that I was working on for a while is the talks from President Dallin H. Oaks. Now, these are all of his talks from General Conference, and then I think I added like a bonus one from BYU at the bottom. You can find these in the Gospel Library app, but I was like, you know what? I got to put it in a checklist because I love checklists. So that's that. And then on the very back, we're going to have ways to tell your own story and the different therapies that they might be called to kind of help guide you, to help you understand like what it is that you're doing to process your story. Because I felt like we need to have a way to get it out of our system, because we have these wounds now, and we need to get the pus out. And if we don't get the pus out, it's going to be stuck. And we're going to end up experiencing pain, like additional pain. Trauma that is not expressed or let out compounds your trauma. So it's just like more trauma on top of more trauma. And then I also have a sticker that I have ordered that will be included in the kit also. And all of this has to be under 1 ounce to be able to ship for the regular postage. I already think I might be over. But this is like how I'm going to mail it out. So it's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. It's called Letters from the Battlefield, and we're going to send one out every month. I've been working on a book and workbooks and things like that. And I have a course that I've been working on. And so all of this is basically being compiled into these letters and putting the best stuff in each of these letters so that you can get the help that you need when I'm not there, right? Or when other people aren't there, because what happens is we try to get healing without actually telling our story to anyone, because we don't think anybody can help us. And I mean, for the most part, it's true, because really the only one that is the healer is Christ. And so these things are meant to lead you to him, but also take into account a bunch of different healing modalities that will help us come unto Christ and get us the healing that we need. And anyway, I think it's so fantastic. I wish I would have had this when I was going through it, and I really have prayed over it, and this is going to be so helpful to so many women. And I hope that if you don't need it, that you might be able to tell somebody about it that might need it. You could also gift it to someone. So go to lindawinegar.com to be able to order your letter from the battlefield. Subscribe to it monthly. It's going to change every month. We're going to have different focus. This one is focused on the C, which is connect with Christ. And so a lot of things are focused on connecting with Christ in this, and also helping us identify who we are, right? Because when we connect with Christ, we receive that perspective that we are daughters of God, and we're able to see clearer when we connect with Christ. And so that is like the focus of this one. And so that's the theme. And then next month we'll have a different theme, and it'll continue to include healing things, the recipe, bookmarks, a different book, and different quotes to strengthen us along the way. All right, until Exodus chapter 3, stay strong, warrior. And I will also put the link to the website to order the letters from the battlefield down here. Okay.